You know, we're supposed to be the same guy, right? Oh, yeah, maybe. But you don't even have the ears. Whatever. What's going on, everybody? Republic Cinema here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Studio Series 108 Deluxe Class Rise of the Beasts Wheeljack, or unanimously known as Pablo. Now, one thing I want to point out was that this figure was actually delayed. He was supposed to come out sometime last year, but due to the negative feedback of the way Pablo looked like, Hasbro pushed back most of the Wheeljack figures for redesign. I guess. Doesn't look like there's been much of a redesign. But anyways, the wait is over and he's finally here. Now before we take a look at the figure, let's take a quick look at the packaging. Starting at the front, we get this nice CG rendition of Wheeljack's alt mode, to which this style is a little bit different, as usually the robot mode for the CG rendition is displayed on the front, but this time they decided to go a little different. On the side over here is this nice CG rendition of Pablo, and on the other side is a more zoomed in look to him. And it looks like this CG rendition is a little bit different. On the top is this nice Transformers Rise of the Beast logo, and on the bottom is all boring. Same thing with the bottom back, but on the bottom top, you get a little bit more info on what you get inside the packaging. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the packaging. Now moving back to the figure. So starting off, painting and sculpting, pretty good. However, I can't help but notice how the broad paint scheme reflects a more coffee cream hot chocolate vibe to the paint apps. It's almost as if this figure was meant to release sometime in the holidays last year. But anyways, we get this nice Autobot logo right smack in the middle, as well as an improved head sculpt, much better than the main line. What I've noticed this time around is that the glasses are molded in a little bit better than the main line, because for some reason the main line's glasses broke off easily. Also, there is a little bit of kibble on the back of this figure. However, the kibble placed beneath the arms are removable, which is something you could actually do in the Bumblebee movie Wheeljack as well. Now, quality is a little bit better than the main line. Well, better than the mainline copy that I have. Some joints are not too tight, not too loose. However, there are a few joints that are a little bit tight. Also, for whatever reason, the doors right here are made out of clear plastic, thus further increasing the risk of breakages. I think I saw a crack somewhere around here. Also, remember how the chest could combust on the mainline Pablo? Well, it's returned, except it's less annoying. So don't worry about that part. Anyways, moving on to accessories, here he comes with this gun, which is very inaccurate to the gun that he had in the movie. However, this gun was based off of early concept art, and for whatever reason, it's made out of clear plastic. Yet it's still sturdy, I guess, as it does tab onto Wheeljack's hand nice and snug. And there you go, there's Wheeljack with his gun. At least it is, in fact, blast effect compatible. And if you don't like the gun, the best alternative would be the mainline Pablo's gun. Just kidding, you could take Bumblebee Wheeljack's gun. And there you go. And then for weapon storage, the tab on the side of a gun over here simply tabs onto that lip, and then just plugs in. The weapon storage is alright. However, if you look at it in the front, you'll notice the gun sticking out, and it looks weird. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is that there's this weird side panel sticking out on Wheeljack's arm. It's both ugly and inaccurate, and gives me Age of Extinction Crosshairs vibes. Although, thankfully, not as bad as Age of Extinction Crosshairs. And now moving on to articulation. The head is on a tight ball joint, which allows an up and a down, and a swivel. The back wings can move back and forth, as well as there being a swivel joint bent at the shoulder. There is also an extra ball joint at the shoulder as well, which allows for a hinge joint at the arm. There is also a bend at the elbow swivel. Unfortunately, no wrist swivel, but of course there is a waist swivel. Legs can spread, leg can move forward, can move backwards, stiff thigh swivel, double bend at the knee. There is also a ball joint at the lower knee, which allows for an up and a down and a swivel. Speaking of ups and downs, there's one for the foot. And lastly, the foot can rock from side to side. And yeah, that's pretty much for articulation. It's pretty straightforward. Now moving on to size comparison. Starting off, here he is next to the Studio Series Bumblebee movie Wheeljack, Mainline Pablo, Mainline RC, Core Class RC, Core Class Novocaine and Freezer, Core Class Noah, one of his wave mates Scorponok, Terracon Nightbird, Bumblebee, Mirage, Optimus Prime, Rhinox. Moving on into some wave mates, here he is next to Rumble, Mohawk, and lastly, here he is next to Megatron. And the gang's all here. Well, minus Stratosphere, but other than that, the Autobot team from Rise of the Beasts is completed. I wish the Autobot teams from the other movies were also complete too. Who knows, maybe in the future that will be fulfilled. But anyways, let's move on to transformation, which is pretty difficult, but I've transformed this guy enough to memorize the steps. Just one thing to point out, there are a few steps that you need to do, unless you want to undo a bunch of steps just to fix something. But anyway, starting off with the legs, what we're going to do first is fold in the heel spurs, push this up, and then fold that in. After that, push this panel down, rotate it, and leave it there for now. Same thing with the other side, and now let's move on to the top. Starting off, what you'll do is move this out like so, and then push it all the way up, and then push this in as well. You do the same thing for the other side, push this down like so, and then split this chest piece open as well. Make sure it goes all the way up. Close that in. Rotate the bottom part of the waist. I know it seems somewhat difficult, but any other process results in the doors snapping off. You don't want to do that. Anyways, move the doors out like so. Then what you're going to do is move down the shoulders. And what you'll make the attempt of doing is trying to properly align them to the point where they can go under the doors. And then after that, close the doors in like so. Make sure this is all the way open. Same thing for the other side. And then what you will do next is try to unfold this panel right here. Although, do be careful when doing so because sometimes it'll pop out. Anyways, make sure it's straightened out like so, and then push everything in. After that, move the arms up like so, as well as the same thing for the other arm. Move this up, and then after that, close everything in. Close the panel like so. Move this stiff panel up. Push it down like so. Same thing for the other side. And then make sure both sides tab into place. And here we have Pablo in his alternate mode. It's quite interesting that they've went for the Volkswagen minivan as Pablo's alt mode. It's alright I guess. Also, if you look closely, you could see Pablo behind the windshield. Now, just something I want to point out, but in my copy, for some reason the tabs right here don't want to close in. I'm not too sure if someone else's copy has this problem, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Also, for some reason he has hollow gaps over here. Doesn't make much sense. Unless these have something to do with the ball joints for the legs. And for weapon storage, this side of the tab does tab onto that lip, just like in the robot mode. And if you want, you could store the gun facing backwards as a way of rear defense. And then for a side-by-side comparison, here he is next to the main line Pablo's alt mode. You could see which one's bigger, and you could see which one's more accurate. Both alt modes are alright. I like how for this one, it feels a little bit more heftier than this one. But yeah, let me know in the comments which Pablo you like more, the mainline or the Studio Series. Personally, I'm gonna go with Studio Series. I like how accurate this one is. And the quality's a little better for this guy. As for the quality on this guy, or at least on my copy, I can't say the same. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I had to say for this guy. Overall, pretty great figure. Definitely recommend picking it up. Especially if you want to complete your Autobot team from Rise of the Beasts. If you want to get him, I believe he's available on Target and Walmart now. But if you can't find him at Walmart or Target, he is available on Amazon for $25.99. And I think that's pretty much it for Wave 23 in terms of reviewing the new figures. I know there was, of course, a Junkion and a Gamer Edition figure, but I was not interested with those. Although, I am looking forward to Wave 24, which should be available for pre-order sometime this month. Of course, that depends on when the new figures get revealed. But there should be a Hasbro Pulse fan stream coming out sometime this month, so hopefully the new figures are revealed there. But anyways, if you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button, share this with your friends as well, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss another video, and most importantly, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. See ya!